Welcome to a presentation of Hive80, the #1 online community for health, wellness, and medicine. The following is a part of our Hive Partner Series, highlighting experts from across the wellness spectrum.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my makeshift kitchen. Just like you, I was caught somewhat unaware by the way the coronavirus has accelerated, and we are right in the middle of a kitchen renovation. But we are still going to have a cooking therapy session today. I'm Debra Borden, also known as the Sue Therapist, and I'm so excited that I get to introduce you to cooking therapy. Let's face it, with everything going on right now, what could be better than a therapy right in your own home that you don't have to travel to, a therapy that is free, okay? You don't have to go pay $150, $200 or more to a therapist. And guess what? It's an activity. So self-help and activity, you can do it alone, you can do it with a partner, you can even do it with the whole family. So one of the recipes that I always do, and by the way, you may hear a lot of family, my family, in this makeshift setting. And that's great, because that's what we're all going through, right? We have to make the best of things. And in fact, there might be some ingredients in the recipe you don't have. Well, guess what? I don't have them either. So we're going to be substituting, and let's start with that as one of our first metaphors for life, right? Sometimes things aren't perfect in life. You can't get everything you need. And so you make the best of it. That's our first one. So getting back to our recipe, one recipe I often use with clients dealing with fear, worry, and anxiety is my go from worry to whistling with zippity-doo-dah zoodle salad. And I thought that's what I would do today, but guess what? Who's getting zoodles when it's hard enough just to get regular supplies? Now, I know a lot of you out there love your spiralizer. That's really what zoodles are. Zucchini that have been spiralized into noodles. And that's great if you love to do that. Me, personally, not one of them. I like to buy my zoodles already done, a little less labor intensive. But P.S., we can't get any zoodles at all. So I had to substitute. And the new name of this recipe is going from dread to dancing with good as new noodles, N-E-W, noodles. And as you can see, I have them right here. These noodles, by the way, are gluten-free, and they're gonna be just fine. We have about 8 adults and a newborn in this house, all hunkering down and sheltering in place. And everybody has different tastes and different dietary needs, as you can imagine. My daughter-in-law is gluten-free, so I'm making gluten-free noodles. You know, it's a little different with your own daughter. You can just say, hey, these are good, these are just gonna be fine. But with your daughter-in-law, you go the extra mile, right? Mother-in-laws know what I mean. So we're gonna be making gluten-free noodles. And as you can see, my water is boiling, and I'm gonna take about half of them right now and put them in the boiling water. You can do the same with me, and then we'll talk about what taking the boiling noodles out means in terms of therapy. So we're at the point where my noodles are boiling. And I should mention that you may not be at the same stage as I am as we go along, so just feel free to pause me and catch up. But do try to do all of the processes that we do. Even if you don't like something, and you'll see that's gonna happen with me in a substitution coming up. Do the process, and you don't have to put it into the salad, but the processes are important. So my noodles are done, and what do we do as soon as we take out boiling noodles from the hot water? And this is going to be our first intervention for being boiling mad and becoming cool-headed, or having high anxiety and bringing it down to a manageable level. So I'm going to take my finished noodles and plunge them, I know you've seen this, into an ice bath. And what does that do? That stops the cooking. So our first metaphor is, what do you do when you're just out of control with rage, with worry, with fear? And we know that these times right now have accelerated a lot of people's anxiety. What I'd like you to do going forward is remember this. Plunging the noodles into the ice bath takes the heat immediately down. And I know this may sound a little strange to you, all of this, but the next time you find yourself feeling over anxious, you can almost physically do it. Like, think about your head going down into ice water. I promise you, just by doing this, and it may make you laugh a little, but so what? Humor is great for deceleration. Think about putting your whole head and face in ice water just for a minute, just like this, and watch what happens. When you stand up, just like these noodles, a lot of the heat will drain right out. So that's the first part of our good as noodle salad. And I'm going to put these noodles right in the bowl to make the base. But let's get to doing now. The very next item that goes into our noodle salad, or good as noodle salad, are these cherry tomatoes that I've washed. And we're going to cut them in half, and I'll do a few with you. And the reason I want to show you these tomatoes is because I have a little funny story. So there's a famous comedian who says he won't eat tomatoes. And the reason he won't is that he says they look like they're not done yet, like they're still in the larva stage. And I thought, what a great contribution to a cooking therapy session on anxiety and fear. Because look, it doesn't matter what you've told yourself in the past. I'm an anxious person, I'm a nervous person, I'll never change. The truth is, we can all change. We're all evolving, and now we're being called on especially to do so. So take a look at the tomatoes. Think about them changing, growing. Maybe they're not done yet, but neither are you. So if tomatoes can grow, I think we human beings can too. So what we want to do in this therapy session is get rid of all that. We want to peel it all away, just for a half an hour. Everything you've heard, just get rid of it. Peel it away, all those horrible stories, whatever you're seeing with the presidential and state conferences, the rising toll of illnesses and deaths. Yes, peel it all away. And what are you left with? Kind of this much lighter, cooler cucumber. The next ingredient in this recipe are olives, pitted olives. So why do you think pitted? Obviously, we know that when we're feeling anxious or panicky, we get that pit in our stomach, right? So I always use pitted olives to think about the visual of removing the pit and, being left with something nice and soft and much easier to eat and digest, right? None of us want to eat pits, but that's what it's like when we have a pit in our stomach. So I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of guided imagery right now. That's another technique therapists use. I'm going to ask you to think about the pit you get in your stomach when you get it. What color is it? How large is it? Is it a golf ball? Is it a beach ball? Is it black or gray or brown? So do that for a minute. Just close your eyes. I'll do it with you. So mine is probably the size of a baked potato or maybe an avocado, and is a kind of grayish brown color. And now together we're going to visualize that pit going away. And I don't care how you do it. In my mind, I'm taking it out with a melon baller. But I know that other people that I've worked with say they've zapped it with a laser. So in your mind, make the pit in your stomach go away. And if you don't have it right now, that's okay. You just save that for when it does come back. So I hope that was helpful for you. And I know a lot of people, this is a little hokey. But sometimes you just have to commit to something new. You never know. And especially if you're doing this with children, it's really helpful and can really help them de-stress. Guided imagery, you can even Google it. It's a wonderful tool that you can try yourself. So now I have to share with you that I have no olives. But we need something like that to go in the salad. Something tangy, something a little oily. Because when I'm working with clients who have fear and worry and panic, sometimes they need to get their power back. And the olives represent that kind of tangy, fighting, not soft, not passive ingredient. They're a little bit kick-ass. And when you're trying to make a change within yourself, sometimes you have to, my kids make fun of me because they grew up with me going, buck up, mister, shore up. And this is certainly a time when we need to be kind to ourselves, but also to buck up. So for my zoodle recipe, I'm using capers. They're going to substitute in this salad. You may have something else. And remember, you can be substituting anything and making the salad your own. Just try to stay with the process. I want us to end on a positive note. And sprinkling is an amazing cooking therapy process. You can sprinkle any of the following things: gratitude, hope, thankfulness, community. I mean, that's a big one right now, right? We're sheltering in place, but we know we're part of a larger community trying to beat this thing. So I'm going to sprinkle in gratitude that even though there's a lot of adults in this house, they're all adults I love, and we're all together. And I'm going to sprinkle in hope that this lasts much less than some people are predicting. And I'm going to sprinkle in blessings because there are a lot of people much less fortunate, and I always want to acknowledge that. The dressing has been pre-made. I didn't make it as part of the cooking therapy session. But just like in a therapist's office that you go to in person, it's nice at the end to kind of tie things together. And that's what this dressing is going to do. So now that we're tying it all together, I want to leave you with a final metaphor. I spoke briefly about humor. Humor is like kind of one of the most underrated therapeutic skills, I think. It does everything from lower your blood pressure to make your face feel better. So I hear a lot about people going stir crazy, right? As we're all staying at home. What is stir crazy? It means you're going crazy because you haven't been stirring, right? Even like that Christmas poem, nothing was stirring, not even a mouse. So as we stir, we are not only going to stir the salad, I think we should stir ourselves. Some of us are trying to have some activity. But what did I tell you at the beginning? The name of this recipe is going from dread to dancing with good as noodles, right? So I think we need to do the happy dance, don't you? Now, I don't know if everyone knows the happy dance. The first time I heard about it, it was on Grey's Anatomy. And Meredith and Christina had a success. So they said, happy dance? And I guess that's what I'm going to encourage you to join me in. We've had a success. Time for happy dance. Silly, I know, but I hope you join me. And I'm glad you joined me for this cooking therapy session. Our time is up, but I hope to see you next time. Stay safe, be well, and happy cooking.
For more information like this and free exclusive videos, podcasts, and downloads, please join us at Hive80.com, the #1 online community for health, wellness, and medicine.